Are you practicing singing wrong? Shame on you. It's Jim Chandler here with Rock Your Best Vocals, where your best keeps getting better. The reason why I say that all the time is because I'm constantly trying to learn to make my voice better. My voice is far from perfect, but there's a lot of tips and tricks that I've learned along my way of over 30 years as a professional singer and over 20 years as a professional vocal coach that I can help you with. But one thing you have to understand is that someone telling you that you're practicing wrong and shaming you for the way you're practicing, stop catering to things like that. They play to your fear of, oh my God, am I practicing wrong? What am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. You know what? And that messes with your mind. Trust me, it messed with my mind. When I lost my voice to COVID, I had to try and get it back fast because being a professional singer, if you're not singing, you ain't earning money. I was like watching all these YouTube videos going, I got to get my voice back. I'm watching all these, and it was messing with my mind. One coach would say one thing, and the other coach would, don't drink coffee. No, do drink coffee, doesn't matter. Drink alcohol before, don't drink alcohol. Smoke, don't smoke. Well, none of them say smoke, but I mean, the point I'm trying to make is that they all contradict one another. The average ones contradict one another. But if you find really good vocal coaches, they kind of are saying the same thing. So it takes a long time and a lot of heartache going through different videos, trying to figure out what will work for you. The same thing won't work for everybody. That's why when I work with students, I kind of try and figure out what, that they're trying to do with their voice. I can hear and see what they're doing that needs to be corrected, if you will, to guide them in a way that they want to sing. But anyway, I want to get to this point of like you're practicing wrong, because if some vocal coach on the internet, and I'm not naming this person, so don't even put in the comments below, but like, because I like the person, but if they're telling you you got to scream like a banshee, and that's practicing. Like scream and just make a bunch of crazy noises, and that's practicing. That's not practicing. That's figuring out your voice, and that's figuring out what you can do. And that's great. I'm not saying that that's not good stuff to do, because I do that all the time. I kind of try to make crazy noises all the time, and that helps me to put across different, ideas of how to sing to someone. Like some of my private students will know if I say like, hey, I'm walking over here, they'll know what I'm doing with that. And just to get back to the point, if you're just doing that, like that's not practicing, that's not going to develop your voice. That's not going to help you to develop the control in your voice. And this particular coach said, like, don't, do warm-ups that all the famous people do. Well,
very boring.
if you're doing a famous person's warm-up and you're hitting all the notes along with them, you're warming up your voice. You're training your voice to be in control over certain notes. Another great way to do this, to practice, to explore your voice, is to pick one artist, one album even, if you will, and listen to that in its entirety over and over and over and over again. And we say, well, what are they doing here? What are they doing with this? And that's why I like to break down like these isolated vocal tracks, because you can really hear what they're doing. A lot of times if you're just listening to the music, you hear all of the other stuff that's going on. You hear the effects on their voice, and you kind of think that the voice is doing something that it's actually not. But what I'm trying to say is put on just an artist that you love, that you really enjoy, that you're excited to practice along with, and use that to gain the control of your voice. You might have to sing a song or a certain line over and over and over and over again to get it. And sometimes that happens. Like I do that with my students a lot. Like I'll pick one line of a song and we'll go over it and go, well, what were you doing with that? Because when you're working on your technique, you can, like, from second to second, you will not do one of the several things that your body is supposed to do in complete, like, perfect technique. So there's several things that your body's doing. You're trying to coordinate all these muscles together to work in time. You're trying to coordinate whatever you're doing with your throat, your soft palate, everything, your nasal resonance cavity up here, and your support muscles and your breath, taking in enough breath, not collapsing down, your posture. I mean, everything. There's so many different things to think about. It takes that coordination of something, the repetition of something over and over again to get that control. And that's practice. Practicing getting control of your voice is essential. Not just screaming like a banshee, doing kind of whatever you can to make crazy noises. Like I said, that's not bad. That's good. It's good to kind of understand, okay, I can do this. Like, wow, that was weird. I can go, that's all good stuff to do. Don't get me wrong. Practice is not that. That's exploration, potentially doing yourself some damage to your voice. Now, and this person will also say, oh, you can't damage your voice. There's a lot of people that have damaged their voice by just doing silly, crazy, stupid stuff like that. In fact, when I did a particular video, like how to scream like Kurt Cobain, like my voice was fairly rough after the next couple of days because I was doing what Kurt did, which is not advisable. And I'll put a link to that video up there if you want to watch it just for a laugh. It's not advisable just to go and scream, but Kurt would go out on this lake where he grew up. And he would scream across the lake in that exploratory, just like kind of trying to get his voice to sound like more roughed up or whatever. So, but again, it's not advisable. I would advise extreme caution if you're going to scream like a banshee and kind of make crazy noises, just to make sure you're trying not to blow too much air through your vocal cords. Because if you are blowing a lot of air through your vocal cords, right, they're going to flap together. And that's when you get hoarse, when the next day you can't sing because your vocal cords are inflamed in a certain point and they're not coming together where that note is. So it's very important to try, if you're going to do that stuff, try not to blow too much air. Your vocal cords are only as thick as your fingernail. So when you're putting a tremendous amount of force through something that's closed like that, just be careful. Just use your own common sense. Use your own intuition, your body intuition. Like, listen to yourself. If you are doing something and you think, hey, that doesn't feel good, don't do it. Something is happening that is not good for your voice. So just be mindful. Use your intuition. Rock your best vocals where your best keeps getting better. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.